Let's get you to introduce yourself, George.
Sure. Okay, George Wooldridge, Green Party candidate for Wascana and social, political, and transportation activist for about 10 years.
Okay, what's your educational background?
A couple of years at the University of Saskatchewan in political studies, and realizing that I knew far too much about politics and most of the people I was learning from.
And so you ended up teaching the professors a little bit?
You could say that.
Okay. And I heard you traveled to Europe, or I have an understanding of that?
Europe, the Middle East, and Pakistan, and also lived in those parts of the world too. And very glad at the experience. It's certainly nice to get a world view that's beyond CNN's headlines.
Yeah, CNN isn't always known for their, well, incisive international coverage.
And also being someone who had to go through the first Gulf War, they really are just a corporate media mouthpiece, and I hope that Canada is able to steer itself away from that sort of US neocon corporatism.
What kind of a job have you felt the media's been doing this election campaign?
Well, speaking personally, I'm quite happy with them right now, but nationally, I think that progressive people, whether they be Greens, New Democrats, or Liberals, have to start being proud of who they are, more so, and also changing the questions and not being afraid to do so. The example I like to use is George Galloway and the British Respect Party, where they do challenge the media. I think we need to challenge the media's questions, because most of them are asked from a particular slant. I think we need to change the slant.
Do you read any blogs in your course of your day or otherwise?
In the 20 minutes I have to look at the computer, but most of the time it's going out and trying to change things hands-on. But certainly I like the fact that the internet is an open medium, and there's a lot of things that we can do on there that otherwise we might not be able to do. I just wish other progressives were a little more forthright, and I guess I'm alluding to the fact that recently the CBC pulled off their website an article by a writer who was very critical of Sarah Palin, the vice presidential candidate. I think we shouldn't be afraid to stick to our guns if we're saying controversial things, because anytime the right says anything controversial, it seems like that's easily forgiven or just swept under the rug. When unfortunately progressives do so, it seems there's a different set of rules, but I think we need to go out and change the rules.
So you alluded to Heather Malick's column.
Yes.
Yeah. On the CBC website, they posted a comment saying that they regretted posting her opinion that Palin wasn't any good for being vice president. You sound a bit like a workaholic. Are you busy outside of the campaigns too?
Yes, I have two jobs, at the Hotel Saskatchewan and also at Tony's India Food Centre, which is an East Indian grocery store. So that's, for me, it's like a slice of previous lives that I've had, and I really enjoy that. I think if we are going to move forward in the world, we do have to take a page from Barack Obama's book and say that in order to secure our own futures, we have to go out and talk to whoever, whenever, and in whatever capacity we can. I think we do need dialogue, serious dialogue, and we shouldn't be afraid of it. We shouldn't be afraid of ideas, whether they be left-wing, right-wing, or otherwise, but we should have that ability to communicate. And that was what was very frightening about my experiences yesterday at Michelle Hunter's office, the Conservative candidate. I had never felt such animosity towards us based on the ideas that we espouse. And to be told by a candidate running for political office that you're not welcome in their office, I think that's an extremely sad day for democracy in Canada. And it hurts me in particular because I had a great-grandfather who fought in the trenches in World War I, and he was told he was fighting for freedom and democracy. And to have a party like the Conservatives who wrap themselves in our flag, and it's our flag, not theirs, to do that I think is abhorrent, and it insults everything that he fought for. And I think that we need to challenge that. We need to say to the Conservatives, you're not Canadians, you're just US neocons with Canadian passports. You're having our soldiers in Afghanistan fight on a pack of lies, and you're insulting their memory by playing politics with what they're doing. And you're not building a future, but you're borrowing from the worst elements of the past. And I think as Canadians we need to stand against that, and we need to be proud of who we are in Canada. But we need to build. We can't build by tearing things down and by deceit and by following the examples of people who, frankly, their time has come and gone.
What are the two top issues in your mind right now that affect Wascana?
I think the environment is always number one across Canada. The environment is vital to everything. If you can't breathe the air and drink the water, you don't have a future of any kind. So I think the environment is number one, but I would say the second is the fact that we have seen the Canadian Conservative Party and the Liberals and the NDP pursue policies of free market fundamentalism, where it's destroyed our urban and rural infrastructure. So I would say rural and urban infrastructure would be the second. And I think we need to champion both as hard as we can in this election. And I definitely think it's time that Saskatchewan elected a Green MP.
All right, thanks very much for your interview.